All right, episode 10. Welcome, everybody. If this is your first time joining us, I welcome you. Got my man here, Big Mike. I appreciate you, man, coming on the show.
Oh.
Man, dude, I appreciate you coming.
It's dope to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Man, if you guys don't know, right now in Southern California, we actually just got this weird storm, and it looks like it just passed, but it was raining pretty heavy, and Big Mike still showed up, so I appreciate him. Thank God you got here safely, man. Appreciate
yeah, man,
it.
no doubt, dude. It's an honor to be here, and the weather. I mean, you just have to drive more carefully.
Yeah,
as
man.
you're supposed to, and just it's I couldn't miss it, man.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate you coming, dude. Dude, this episode's actually pretty special to me, and I was saving this as we were talking earlier.
Okay.
Not only is it because we know each other, but it's been such a long time since we've gotten together and spoken and caught up. But dude, this is also episode 10, man, and 10 is actually my number. I was born April 10th, and 10's my number, man. So,
well, I mean, look, I appreciate the significance there, and to have me be number 10.
Yeah, dude.
Dope, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you, man, dude. I know. I knew I always wanted you on the podcast.
Okay.
And really, it's because I just think, dude, you got something special with you, man. You have a very unique mindset, obviously, with what we're going to talk about right now. For the people to get to know you, you just have something special. You have a very unique mind. You're an architect, man. So, dude, let's just dive into it. So, with the Parables podcast, like I was telling you, we really just want to get to know you. Yeah. Very conversation. I know I do ask you some questions, but we do try to make it just very conversation, like coffee conversation, sure. Right? I want it as if if the people who are listening are actually sitting next to us and just like, dude, just like talking. You know what I mean?
dig it, man.
So, dude, let's get started. So, I want people to know who you are. I know who you are briefly.
Yeah.
I want people to know who you are. So let's start off where you grew up, because I don't even know that.
Southern California, man. I'm born and raised.
Born and raised? What city were you from?
I mean, I'm SoCal, man. I moved around, but I'm pretty much from the IE.
Okay, yeah.
I grew up out here.
And that's what I love about it too, man. IE represent, man.
I mean, because the thing is like, I get why people have their ideas of the IE.
Yeah.
Because back in the 80s and the 90s, it was that. Uh-huh. But anyone who still thinks the IE is undeveloped and in the country, they're completely out of date. I mean,
they clearly haven't traveled to all the areas, right?
It's wild over here. I mean, the places. I mean, if you want to talk about like real estate and the appraisal of things, I mean, you want to talk about that. There are people who saw it. Uh-huh. They knew Eastvale, for example. Yeah. This entire city didn't even exist. Yeah. X amount of years ago. Yeah. And now it's a real place with housing that has appreciated 200%, 300%.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy, man. So yeah, I mean, I'm born and raised in Southern California, and specifically the IE. I've lived in a lot of places. I've moved around a few times, but. That's kind of home base right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, so obviously, I'm sure a lot of people know who Big Mike is as a person, but an abundance of people also know you from the car industry.
Sure, yeah. That's kind of been one of the most amazing parts of the development of the last 20 years. You know, is because the car scene. Southern California is the home base, the mecca of the car industry. Yeah. It basically started here, you know, and so the what we would call it the OGs and all those people, those are the ones out in Terminal Island, racing, building cars when nobody really had anything, and it turned into shops that turned into the industry that it is today. I mean, that's in an extremely abridged version, but I kicked it with a lot of older heads, and what a lot of people don't know is that the automotive industry was pretty much started by predominantly a bunch of Asian gangsters. Mm-hmm. People don't really.
I didn't even know that, truthfully. Okay.
I mean, it's like they may not necessarily have been active gang members. Yeah. But I mean, they were street dudes out racing in the streets. Yeah. And it turned into, well, we need to make our cars faster, first the garages and then the shop space. And that is really what evolved the import culture. And when I came into it, I was, 12, 13, right? Is about an age that I could think of where I started like kicking it or wanting to be around certain types of people, if you will. Yeah, yeah. And those types of people had these types of cars. So some homie's older brother or cousin or big homie right? Um, and they were all gangsters,
Mm-hmm.
but they drove, DAs or legends, like the drug
The
dealers
old
and
school, yeah,
legends.
yeah.
Or some cat would have an MK4 Supra.
Mm-hmm.
Someone would have anything, just you name it, right? All of those imports,
Mm-hmm.
right? An Eclipse, some dude, if they had like a GST or GSX Eclipse, it was like,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
you knew, even though you didn't know anything about the technicality of it, it was a turbo car, and they were all lowered on these like dope wheels, and they all like dressed a certain way, acted a certain way. So that's kind of how it got me into it. So 14, 15 years old now, I'm going to the magazine aisle
Mm-hmm.
at car events. Excuse me, at the grocery store to read about all the car events, car shows,
Mm-hmm.
car builds. And that's just kind of how it turned. It just turned into this thing where I started reading magazines, and then later on got old enough to go to car shows,
Mm-hmm.
and then it turned into my first car was in a magazine in '05.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And then
That's Honda tuning, the first one. Right?
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
it was my hatch,
Okay.
right? So you get to that point. I was probably how old was I then? 20, 20 and some change when I
Mm-hmm.
first got that car. 99, 2000. Then it ended up getting to a point where it was in the magazine in '05, and that was like you thought that was it. Like
Yeah.
you've made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
your car is in this magazine that I used to read as a 12, 13, 14,
Yeah.
15-year-old. It's wild, right? So the progression of it turned into the next car ended up making the cover,
Yeah.
which is the Prelude.
Yeah.
In '08, I'm attending car events. I start winning, in my respective classes. Someone said, "Hey, do you want to bring it out? We're all going to show at XYZ event."
Yeah.
Cool. And then, you win, and you're like, wait, what? I just came to be with my homies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just kind of evolved, man, where I wanted to do something better,
Mm-hmm.
and build something nicer and drive something cooler, or however you want to word that. And so I took my time and evolved to at some point someone was like, you're eloquent, you know how to speak, you also know how to write.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you write for the magazines?
Yeah.
Never would have thought about doing that. But one of the guys I had, come up with, he ended up, he was always a photographer, always in the shooting. And he ended up becoming an employee. Like, I think he was outsourced at the time, but he ended up knowing all the right people.
Yeah.
And I had become moderately acquainted with some of the people from when my car was featured in '05. And it just kind of was like, all right, sure.
It's like a snowball effect, kind of.
Yeah, man. I mean, they were just like, you're a well-spoken guy. If you know how to type that the way you speak,
Uh-huh.
then let's give it a try. And there was a template kind of deal, and I
Yeah.
did it, and they liked it, and here's some feedback,
Yeah.
and turned into that. And next thing you know, the magazines I grew up reading,
That's crazy, man.
I was featured in. Then I was on the cover of,
And
and then it turned into being a contributor and a writer for.
Yeah.
And so that's just how it evolved, man. I
Yeah.
mean, and then now over the last every time you think that it's the pinnacle,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you grow as a person, your aspirations,
Mm-hmm.
everything evolves and grows.
Yeah.
And you keep allowing yourself to expand
Yeah.
and grow as a man and as an individual, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, as an enthusiast, as an artist, as a builder, etc. And it just got to that point where your biggest limitation in life is really just yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not always your fault. It's at your age or your level of experience, you're going to only have so broad of an idea of what's achievable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you have to think bigger.
Yeah.
And that comes from allowing yourself to. Because there are some people, man, who have all of the resources in the world, and they don't do anything with it.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Maybe they don't know how. Maybe they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are people who have nothing and they claw and scratch and make it farther, right? So it just the automotive world is something that if I ended up not, it's 2018, it's about to end, about to be in 2019. If I had not made any connections, if I didn't know anyone, I would still go and wait in line for the biggest car shows. I'd go wait in line, buy a ticket, and go in.
Yeah.
Because I love the culture, the scene, the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't allow myself to get jaded.
Yeah.
So every event is cool
Yeah.
in its own right. You know, the LA Auto Show is about to open to the public media day. You know, the first time I got in as media day. It's a certain premiere type event. I just attended the Motor Trend Awards in person, which is something that's very much closed off to the public. And there was a select few dozen maybe at most that were invited to be there in person, and that was a big honor. You know, so to go from a kid who's staring at like the big homies driving their slammed Integras and Civics with loud exhausts and you know, just that world, you know, 20 years ago to, you know, standing next to OEs and CFOs and marketing managers of like the biggest companies in the aftermarket realm and the OE realm.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
As a builder, to have achieved the things I did as far as SEMA, sitting on educational boards as a representative of the sport compact tuner industry, writing for the magazines, shooting for magazines. I also shoot, building cars, setting a precedent and a bar for our culture. I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah,
If you asked me that at 12 or 13, I would have been like, I don't even know when I'm going to be able to buy a car.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So,
and then, you know, it's just been crazy, man. So I know it was a really long kind of answer, but that's what it is. It isn't just like, oh yeah, man, I like cars and I built one and now I'm like a car dude.
No, definitely not.
That's not how that works, you know?
Definitely.
It's deeper than that. It's not a hobby. It's part of who I am. I'm full-blown intertwined in the culture. Yeah. And it's who I am.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. That's one of the reasons why I knew I had to get you on the podcast, because I knew it was deeper than that. You know, and I knew we would dive into that. I want to kind of go back. So you started, you know, I found that very interesting, what you said, how you were reading these magazines. You got on the magazine, then you started working, writing for the magazine. You weren't a writer though, right? You, like they said, you were just like a eloquent, like had an eloquent voice, and they gave you a shot, and it just
right,
cool
right.
From there.
In that realm, when print was bigger,
yeah,
right, because you know we are living in the generation where we are going to see print die.
Yeah, definitely.
It's digital. It's almost there. It's all digital now. Yeah. But I come from an era where, you know, magazines, newspapers, that had journalism, had respect and clout, and there's integrity in what you did.
Absolutely.
Even to the point where, to this day, you hear about journalists who are killed because they put out subject matter that they're not supposed to be able to study. I mean, investigative journalism, it has a certain respect, and that is going to diminish when it comes to print dying, because vlogs and blogs and everyone has a social media account. There is a dissemination of information instantly that has eliminated the need for, well, not the need, but the wait. No one will wait for a newspaper to take even one day, when now your phone will tell you everything.
And it'll just be published right away, right?
Instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah. So you're in an era of the most information we've ever had as human beings, but it's also the era of the most misinformation. Yeah. People, they just need to get it out there. Companies or people who are trying to be the first, you're just trying to be first. And you need to have breaking news, and you need to do that. And that type of mentality is highly, highly dangerous. Yeah. And it spills over to everything. Cars. If you're just trying to keep up with this hyper real, surreal, unrealistic time frame that social media makes people think that they need to adhere to, it is deeply unhealthy. You know, whether it's cars, guys are just trying to anything you can do to be able to post, right? Yeah. So you can keep up, because this person or that person or this company, they're posting stuff, and you're like, I need to keep up. Yeah. And it's not financially logical. Not everyone has the same amount of resources, and it's unhealthy, man. It's so unhealthy. As a person who works in media, and just as a human being who grew up, you know, I feel honored and blessed to be at this age, because I'm in an era where I grew up without cell phones, without internet. Yeah, you know, I knew what it was like to come home and see that light flashing on your answering machine. Yeah, on your landline.
Yeah, I remember those days.
and it was like, you know, you're a kid and you're just like, hope one of those messages is for me.
For me, yeah.
Yeah, and then you call them back, and late nights hiding the phone under the once you got a cordless, hiding it under the pillow so you could talk to some girl or something late at night,
or getting something in the mailbox.
Oh
right?
yeah, oh yeah,
seeing
man.
your name, like, oh, I got mail.
Absolutely, that was the best.
Yeah.
And so the speed at the rate that the world is going, from something as tangible as a car to the shoe game, clothes. It doesn't matter what it is, man. People just feel like they need to keep up. Women, they're presented how many times a second when they open their phone, and men too, to see what this idea of what is currently beautiful. Right?
Yeah.
And I feel bad. I actually genuinely feel bad for women because they are bombarded with what they are supposed to look like. Yeah. All day long.
Yeah.
And how do you fight that off? How do you just decide, but this is what I look like, and it doesn't adhere to right now you're supposed to be X amount of thick and this waist to this ass ratio.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real thing. Like if you go back a few years, it was being thinner.
Yeah.
Right?
Now it's like thick
now it's
right?
Thicker than a Snicker, man. Like, and you got girls that are willing because of certain notable celebrities that
or what they see on the media.
They're willing to surgically alter themselves to have this ratio, this figure that's not natural to their body type. There are women who are built like that. Then there are women who are not. And if everyone's supposed to look a certain way, the women who are not, because of the time and the speed, it's not about going to the gym and changing the way you eat and lifting to do you can't get on the Get It Right, Get It Tight Summer 2019 program right now and start lunging at home. Because that'll take 6 months to get any kind of a booty. How do you have a butt other than, let's not even talk about lighting and poses. Let's not even talk about that. But I understand it to some degree, because if you post it on social media and you don't have the right amount, you're gonna get roasted. Like people are gonna hop in there, dudes are gonna be like, "Oh, she ain't got no ass," and it's
or it's photoshopped or something.
So you're stuck in this perpetual machine that tells you that if you don't look a certain way or act a certain way, it's not right. And I feel like it's very dangerous, man. That is all of these things: cars, the way you think, how you act, all of that stuff created for what I saw the need for the Think Bigger project.
The Think Bigger project.
That's really what it is. A lot of people inadvertently kind of identify it as a car brand because, I'm so deep in the automotive world and that's how they know me. And I guess I get that, but I didn't call it the buildabettercarproject.com.
Definitely.
I called it the Think Bigger project. How you treat fellow human beings, how you view yourself in the mirror, your self-confidence, your self-awareness, how you conduct business, and how you build a car. All of those things, from profound to, objects, it comes from the way that you think, right? So that's why the project was born, because in a day and age where ridiculousness is rewarded, like the more cartoon character you act, like look at these skit people, right? The skit world. That's a thing. It is a very real thing. And it's like adult Disney. If you look at kids' Disney shows, all those kids act over the top. Right? Their mannerisms are too wide and too loud. Their facial expressions are dramatic. Right? You know what I'm talking about. Cartoons, over the top, have always been.
That's how the characters remembered.
Correct. Because speaking in a calm, mature tone isn't memorable. So you have to be over the top. So in a day and age where ridiculousness, the way you act, because they act ridiculous. I mean, just because it's accepted doesn't make it any less ridiculous. If you look at the skits, everything's over the top. Some of them drive home very good points. That's why they're relatable. It's like any comedy skit, like Verbal before, you stood up in front of a crowd. Every joke has a bit of truth in it. So when it relates, when people can relate to it, when it drives home something, and the comedian has the responsibility of finding that line. Sometimes shock value works, and sometimes delivery. But now you have this Instagram. Well, it used to be Vine, right? But
Yeah,
now you
Vine,
have
Vine,
this
yeah.
skit world where all of those things are extremely over the top, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
adult Disney behavior.
yeah.
That's what's rewarded. You know, you take my YouTube channel. I haven't started. It hasn't been around that long, but every video I do is very simple, mature, clean, and I'm talking about a subject that I feel like hasn't been addressed in quite that way. And when you compare the views and the number following to someone who just acts like an idiot, to be very honest with you, it's nothing compared to them.
Does it make sense, truthfully?
But I'm not going to act like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
I'm just not. That's just not how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so that kind of comes into the whole self-awareness thing. The Think Bigger project is all about obviously teaching someone to think bigger, but what does that mean exactly? If you look at social media, if you look at what the world is doing, it's just dangling information in front of you.
Yeah.
Right? News, if it's even real, right? If it's even accurate, I should say. Behavior, everything that is presented to you, it's just a thin veil, right? Some people will call that smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
And it's just presented just right there in front of you. And it is horrifying to see the people who are losing their ability to see past the bullshit. People actually believe that, you know, whether it be political, religious, or any type of these like stronger issues that resonate with people. You have an entire world of people sharing information on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Clips and memes and GIFs and quotes, like the inspirational quote world on Instagram. And, you know, I don't knock people for trying to inspire other people. But when you know the person, you're like, you don't do any of that shit.
Yeah.
You don't
like
do
you don't practice what you preach, or you're not walking.
Yeah, like if I know a girl, and I know a lot of women who some of them have extremely large followings on social media, but I mean, like, they can be mad at me if they want, but I know you and you don't act like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how you
act. So basically
act.
it's like a front.
Bro, everybody to some degree is basically almost forced to front.
Yeah.
Because if they don't do it the way it's supposed to be or what's popular right now, they won't succeed if success is defined by a growing following base, viewers, etc. Right? There we go. Let's segue to that. Success. Everyone, the thing that's dope about this era is we're in an era of entrepreneurship. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, right?
Definitely.
Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, and I respect that. From the way you do taxes, because a 1099 is far better than a W-2, right? All the way down to being your own boss, both literally and philosophically. Yeah, that is an amazing thing. The problem is that people are trying to. Most of the people who say I'm an entrepreneur
are not.
No, they're absolutely not.
They're definitely
unemployed,
not.
Right? They have an idea.
They don't have any employees.
They don't have any employees. Now, they have an idea, right? And they put, I don't know, 60% of effort into it. Yeah. And then when that doesn't pan out, they find something else. And I'm not trying to knock everyone, because there's definitely people that are going 110% into something.
It's just taking them time. It could take them time. Yeah.
If you are going 1,000,000 miles an hour and hard, 110% into something, and then it doesn't work, you can go to sleep at night and say, I tried. Like, legitimately put effort. But to everyone who's an entrepreneur, who what exactly does that mean to you? Does that mean that you quit your day job to pursue starting a business? Is that what being an entrepreneur means? Are you using it more philosophically, like it's your mindset, right? What is
interesting?
That?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, what is that?
I think the definition of entrepreneur, like, a lot of people have a different perspective on it, right? I think, like, the grand scheme of it, though, is entrepreneur is you own your own business, right? But like you said, it could be it could be in your mind, though, and someone else could have a different perspective on it. Why do you think that entrepreneurial definition is so tainted right now?
It's tainted because of volume. Okay. There's so many people who just take what is popular. It's popular to be an entrepreneur. Okay? Yeah. So they're doing it solely because it's popular. A hashtag goes viral, which is by definition popularity.
Yes.
It's quantified popularity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Entrepreneur has how many millions?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is currently a popular thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be the majority of people that do it only because it's popular.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. So that's where the saturation comes from. In any industry, you have people who dilute it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's the people who are about it, and then there are the people who dilute it because they're just in it or use it or act like it, but they're not really about that life. Like that saying, "You're not about that life."
Mm-hmm.
That usually is like when we're talking about gangsters, like when some dude tries to act crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, bro, you're not about that life. Like you're not you're
Yeah.
not really trying to put hands on me right now.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not really gonna. I come from a world of violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in that life, like there are people who will inflict violence on you.
Yeah, who will hurt you.
They will be violent, and
Yeah.
and if you act a certain type of way and you're not ready,
Mm-hmm.
like you are going to be taught a lesson. Now, the argument people come up with is like, oh well, I mean, not a real man doesn't have to hit you, or some version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like internet forums, people used to talk shit, or
Yeah.
social media, you talk shit, and then it's just like, I mean, come on, dude, it's just the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I don't agree with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the words that come out of your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
now it's coming out of your thumbs,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely.
But
yeah.
it's still you
Mhm.
that said it to another human being.
Absolutely.
So if you say some crazy shit to someone and they say, hey man, this might just be Twitter, this might just be Instagram, but I don't fuck with that.
Yeah.
Like you need to watch your mouth. Oh, what are you gonna do? If they find you in real life and they knock you the fuck out, your argument can be as legal and
Mhm,
ethical as you want, but you still have to go to a dentist and get your teeth fixed.
It's well deserved.
Because you wanted to say some crazy shit about someone's children,
Mhm.
about the way a woman looks. You got kids who are committing suicide
Yeah.
because they're being cyber bullied.
Mhm.
They're digitally losing their self-confidence
Yeah.
because they are just getting berated.
They're
by
acting
someone.
tough behind a screen.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And that's children,
Yeah.
right? So a child doesn't know how to deal with their emotions, and it manifests itself in some horrible way.
Yeah.
Some of them have actually hurt themselves.
Mhm.
And then an adult can just hurt you
Yeah.
instead of themselves.
Mhm.
But there's also adults that hurt themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, there are very real things that somehow culture and society is disconnected from the internet.
Mhm.
No, man, the internet is real.
Yeah.
It affects people in a real way.
Mhm.
And it has the power to do something negative, and it has the power to do something positive.
Yeah.
So the term influencer, I hate it.
I hate it too.
I
Actually.
hate it. Right? I despise
I don't like
capital I influencer.
Mhm.
Right? It's a real term. Right?
Yeah, it is.
And it's going to be in the dictionary. They just Merriam-Webster just hasn't put it in there, but it's going to be there.
I'm surprised it's not in there already.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, that's a real thing. Influencers,
Mhm.
and you have this realm of girls, young girls, and people who follow those types of influencers.
Mhm.
And like I said, to the point where they will surgically alter themselves at
Yeah.
a younger and younger age,
Mhm.
or if they don't have those financial means, they're sad. They don't like the way they look.
Yeah.
They don't ever feel good enough.
Mhm.
Guys in the car world, let's make it not quite so dark. It's just
Mhm.
cars. You want to build a dope car, but you don't have the same money as whoever that dude is on this page on your phone that's just posting dope mods, all the stuff you want. You can't do that because you just make less than whoever that is.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that exists. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Right? And it just turns into, what do you do? So how does that manifest? You either, let's say, some people even resort to stealing, right? People in Southern California, there's a car theft. People come out, their cars on bricks, and that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Or it's just maybe someone will get themselves into credit card debt.
Yeah.
Right? They'll just charge up, borrow, whatever they got to do to have this item.
Yeah.
A car, a sneaker collection, watches, TVs,
materialistic
hats,
things, yeah.
anything, man.
Yeah.
Supreme this. I know dudes that I'm like, yo, you don't own a house. You don't own an appreciating asset. You don't have anything going for you in an adult fashion, but you are fitted to the brim. Like you are rocking.
You have like all the sneakers. You have all the most so-called, the most rarest items.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
My dude, I know dudes that are in a like a fire hat.
Yeah.
They're in Supreme gear and like some fire sneakers. And I'm just like, yo, your whole outfit is I mean, it's dope if you were a rapper. Like if you were in a rap video, my dude, but you don't own anything.
It's a low-key down payment to a house.
Everything they own is a depreciating asset.
Yeah.
Only in certain realms of the car world is the car an appreciating asset.
Mm-hmm.
It is 100% a financial liability.
Yeah.
And if you don't care about that, if you have the ability to build a car as your disposable income, right? Or if you're trying to turn that into a business, that's a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you can dip to the meet or to the show with a fire car.
Yeah.
And get out, fitted up.
Looking all stunned, yeah.
But the other adults, because we're adults, man. We're in our 30s
we
and
could
40s.
call it.
Yeah, we're just going to be like, bro, you're stunting on the gram in real life.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah.
You're behaving the way you behave online in real life. And we all know that that's just not a real thing.
So let me, and I promise we're going to come back to this.
Sure.
Because I want to go back to... So when did the Think Bigger project kind of was born? Because it obviously seems like, from my understanding, you're obviously so you're obviously bigger than the car guy, obviously.
Sure,
right?
sure,
definitely, and that's actually one of the reasons why I find you very special. Because just like you said earlier, you're taking this typical car iconic person, this personality, whatever you want to call it, and you're taking it to a whole nother level. You're taking it to places like I don't think have been taken yet. And then we have something, the Think Bigger project, which obviously it seems like it means a lot to you. There's definitely purpose behind it, and I see it, and I support it. It gets you thinking. It seems to be coming from a positive space.
It very much is. It's very much rooted in positivity.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did that come from? It came from observation. Okay. It's easy to reference the automotive realm, the import space, the culture that I grew up. But just look around you. It's applicable to anything.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
How you think is the root of how you behave. Right? Your thoughts are what lead to your actions. That's applicable to anything and everything.
Definitely.
Okay? And what it really ends up coming down to is giving someone a movement, a brand, an ideology that they can be a part of that actually benefits them. Okay. So if somebody rocks a certain car brand, a certain athletic brand, anything, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's walking around wearing some brand.
Yeah.
Okay. When you rock that, I ask people, tell me what that brand is about. The Nike sign, I don't know, something skate, right? Any of the skate brands. It could be something streetwear, right? The whole like urban streetwear vibe.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'll ask people, like, what does that brand represent?
Yeah.
The majority of the time, I can't even get a real answer. Okay. Now, not everyone. There are people who can tell you, oh, this was started by this skater back in like 91 or, they'll just give you some story. And I'm like, okay, cool. I can dig it. Right?
Yeah.
I skate. This is kind of like the skate logo that kind of just I grew up with. But this is kind of the hip hop logo, right? The same thing with music. Same thing with anything, right?
Yeah.
If you can tell me, I mean, you don't even have to answer. It's not about answering to me. Yourself.
Yeah.
Anything. You need to look in the mirror, right? And be able to answer the question, why do you support that person, that brand, that company?
Yeah.
Why? If you don't have an answer, you need to stop and think about what you're doing, right? Because if the answer is, man, honestly, I don't care what they're about. I just think the colorway is dope. That's a real answer. I'll take that.
I was just going to ask, what if someone just said, you know what, I love the design of this.
Bro,
I love this.
That is a real answer. Okay. That means they thought about it.
Yeah.
They don't know a thing about it. They clearly don't care to Google it.
Yeah.
They just like the colorway. They like the design. They like the logo. They like, or maybe not even that whole company, just that shirt drop, right? They just like it.
Yeah.
That's a real answer.
Yeah.
Because there's some kind of thought into that. I'll take that. Most people, they can't even do that, right? But they'll say, oh, I just like it. But saying you just like it and saying to yourself, okay, why am I buying this? Why am I giving this person, this company, this brand, my time and my money? And saying the only reason is because I like this shirt is not the same answer as just because I like it. Yeah. One of them is thought of. It is your effort to come up with that answer.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you say, I just like the colors.
Yeah.
I just like the logo.
You know, it comes from an authentic space.
It comes from a place.
Yeah. If someone just lets it out like that.
Sure.
Right?
They're not the same thing. So the Think Bigger project, the merchandise aspect of it is 10th on the list of importance.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that when people understand what it's about, who and what it's created from, what it's doing,
the meaning behind it,
it is inevitable that they're gonna want to support it in the sense of merch.
Yes,
there are people who support it in very powerful ways, but they've purchased less than maybe another person. But I don't value it that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If people believe in it, I think they're gonna end up wanting to support that.
Yeah.
And they're also gonna end up what I try to do is make it very clear that it is not about telling people what to think. It's teaching people how to think. Right? How you think will lead to your decisions. Right? So that's why it's called the Think Bigger project, man. It's to teach people to think bigger. It's not about cars. It's not about clothes. It's not about looks, aesthetics.
Yeah.
It's business, it's entrepreneurship, it's life, it's morals, it's ethics, it's religion, it's politics. People need to think for themselves.
Would you say? Is it safe to say it's more of like you're encouraging free thinking?
Dude, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely,
got it. I love it.
No, even if free thinking, free thinking. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, being self-aware. Okay, that is. How many people have even read that? Self-aware. Right? What does that mean?
I think people just think woke, but self-aware is a little...
Oh, perfect. Perfect, my dude. Let's talk about that. You know how that's kind of thinned a little bit, but there's the whole like hashtag woke nation?
Yeah.
Stay woke?
Yeah, stay woke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that it is hilarious and ironic to me that the entire term to describe being like more intelligent and studying and researching and opening your eyes is grammatically incorrect. That's, I don't know. I find that to be extremely hilarious.
I agree to it to some degree. Yeah.
I mean, okay, but forget all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're opening your eyes. You're looking past what's right in front of you. You're awakening. You're woke.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's rock with it, right? Okay, stay woke, woke nation, right? Those are real hashtags in the millions. Okay.
Yeah.
So Pete, right? Let's talk about. I'm glad you brought that up.
It's a little exaggerated, I guess you could say.
Everything is exaggerated.
Yeah, but it's more exaggerated than self-aware.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it's actually conceptually the same thing.
Yes.
If you say I have awakened my senses, I am willing to have comprehensive thought processes. I'm going to look past what's right in front of me, and I'm woke because of that. If you want to call it woke or self-aware, cool, right? But my whole thing is people need to know who they are, what they stand for, what they believe in, and why.
How do people do that though? Because I'm going to go back again. I'm going to go back a little bit to your story, because the parables is about your story, but also I love this conversation. It's amazing. Would you say in the car, like going back to the car quote, just real quick, would you say growing up you definitely were able to identify, you were able to gain an identity? I would say yes, right?
You mean from cars?
No, from being in the scene, because you've been in it for quite some time.
Yeah.
So how are people able to have that self-awareness, know who they are, how to think and things like that?
Well,
it could be multiple things, though, right? It could be the way you were raised, right?
Oh, absolutely. So there you go.
Surrounded with things like that.
All right, there you go. You've touched on it perfectly. So a lot of it comes down to parenting, right? How you grew up. Okay, did your parents? Did they imbue in you intelligence? Did they want you to read books? That's another thing that I feel blessed is that I grew up in an era where there were books, right? And there's always been TV, right? Well, I mean, for our lifetimes and a couple generations back, but I grew up where I didn't watch TV like that. I read.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that gave me a certain foundation. But nonetheless, man, if somebody was raised with the television on from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., which by the way, a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And now it's just an iPad. or monitors in the car. They're kids, and that's how you keep them from being quiet. I don't have any idea how I was quiet as a kid, but I sure as hell didn't have a monitor watching a movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that if I made a noise, I just would have got my ass beat. So that's a whole nother conversation about how you treat or punish or discipline. That's a word that people mix up all the time.
Yeah.
Disciplining a child physically is entirely different from abusing them. And people have no idea how to understand there's a difference.
Definitely.
Nowadays, you cannot touch a child. It's abuse. No, it's not, man.
Yeah, that's
in my opinion, not teaching them the difference between right and wrong is abuse.
Definitely.
Okay?
You're doing a disservice.
Just to them and then to culture and society.
Yeah.
Right? Because they are going to grow up to be a bunch of
self-entitled
pieces of shit.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them.
I completely agree.
Okay? So, I mean, we might need a whole nother hour to talk about that, but
the belt's coming out with my family. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, but dude, yes, upbringing, like you brought up, the way you were brought up.
So
but you know what, man? Yes, parenting. But here's the thing: as an adult, look at the way the legal system works. It does not matter about what happened when you turn 18. When you do some dumb shit, right? You are treated as an adult.
Yeah.
Okay. So as adults, you have the ability to come up with a decision. That decision isn't necessarily going to be some like grand, profound change from the one 1 minute ago when you were 17. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
The decision could be, I need to change.
Yeah.
Right? If you watched your father hit your mother, or alcoholism, or whatever in your family, the statistics show that kids who grew up around that repeat it. Not all, but the majority.
Yes, yeah.
Not all. Right? But why? If you ask them, they would say, I hated my father, for example. But why do you act like
that? They were around it. They were involved with it. Something definitely. It's not like it was foreign to him. All of a sudden they're into
Correct.
it. More than likely they were involved.
And statistics show they repeat it.
Yeah.
Majority.
Yeah.
But there are the people who don't. Why don't those people do it? Because they made a decision not to.
Yeah.
Okay? And that decision isn't overnight, but they decided that they need, whether it be working on their temper, whether it be the type of woman you're dating. Okay? Because those things go both ways. You know? Is it the type of woman who antagonizes you on purpose, who is setting you off on purpose? Because that exists as well. Whatever it may be, you decide, right, what to do. So your upbringing, but who you are as an adult ultimately is your decision.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's all about accountability and the decisions you make.
Correct. So self-awareness, I think, would definitely be, I guess I could use the word easier, right? If you were raised with a certain foundation.
Yeah.
But it's never too late, and it's your personal moral code, your personal ethical code. That is something that evolves forever.
Yeah.
It isn't necessarily some turning point where you come up with a decision and you're that way for the next 65, 70 years of your life. We're always growing. Yeah. You should always be growing.
Absolutely.
So if you know who you are as a man, as a human being, as a woman, if you know who you are, what you believe in, what you're worth, that's when, they say know your worth. Like, let's take women, for example. You got this whole woman empowerment movement, which is amazing. And part of that is know your worth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. What the fuck does that mean to them? Okay? That's part of self-awareness. But it's like woke nation. Girls know your worth.
I feel like I love the movement. I just feel like a lot of people get drawn to that movement because, again, we talked about like popularity.
It's popularity.
It's what's trending, what's viral right now.
Correct.
And I got nothing against it, but for the people who, like you said, don't have the knowledge or the foundation or don't even know why they're backing such a thing.
Correct.
Whether it's a movement like that or maybe just something that they believe in, there's an issue with that.
There is an issue with it,
yeah.
Right? Because what ends up happening is that ruins it for the people that are passionate about it, okay? Passion, right? That we're talking about. Okay, so let's finish talking about self-awareness. That is the key to everything, okay? Because look, your personal, moral, ethical business code, right? If you decide how you conduct business, how you treat fellow human beings, how you behave, right? If you know what is right and wrong to you, right? The world cannot break you.
Yes.
But because people don't know what they believe in, they don't have a foundation.
I see what you're saying.
Right?
Yeah, it's dangerous.
It is highly, highly dangerous
Yes.
because they keep flowing with the times.
Yes.
Okay? And it's come to a point in our society where if someone sticks true to what they believe in and it's not popular, they are persecuted for it.
They will get attacked.
Correct. It is. So this whole thing about equality, it's not equal at all. Okay? You have feminists who will say that like for transgender rights. I mean, dude, we're going to touch on some very sensitive subjects. There are people who I've actually heard feminist activists who say that a man doesn't have a right to decline a woman if she makes an advance on him if he finds out that she's transgender.
Wow.
Because you're being bigoted. You are saying, oh, well, you used to be a man, and because of that, I don't want to have anything to do with you. So you can't actually say no because that's fucked up. No, you can say no for whatever the fuck reason you want to, and especially because that's really a dude.
Yeah.
Okay?
Definitely.
The fact that someone actually, their mind worked enough for them to think that you don't have the right to say no as a dude because it used to be a dude, the fact that it's so convoluted and fucking intertwined with I don't know what, that is the real conclusion. Oh, now, that's just one person, and that seems extreme. But think about it. Look around you, man. There's a lot of extreme shit going on, right? And if you are against that, right, you got people who are like, I don't know, man, I was just raised not believing in homosexuality being okay, right? You say that shit in public, it's borderline a hate crime. Yeah. Right? You can't say that. But why can't you say that just as much as they can say, well, that's cool, man, I believe in it.
So I'm glad we're touching on this subject because I think there's different ways to go about it. It's one way to respectfully just express your thoughts or ideas.
If you even have to.
Even if you
can just keep it to yourself.
Yeah. No, you can. Yeah. But if someone respectfully just says, hey, you know what, I don't believe in this. Yes. But I mean, it's not like I'm going to commit anything, do a hate crime or anything, but this is just how I was raised and, I don't believe in it. And cool.
But it's not cool.
It's not like that.
It's not like that.
It's not
you
like that.
Cannot say
and
something.
There's something wrong with society, definitely, with this.
So if you, I mean, I use those because those are the most premier and sensitive subjects on a grand scale right now.
Definitely.
But it is applicable to anything, right? If I don't believe in conducting business a certain way, if I know what I think is right and wrong, morally, ethically, business-wise, then I get to make a decision on who I conduct business with and why I do or do not, right? Yeah. Self-aware, okay? If you look in the mirror, right? If a woman looks in the mirror at night and finally says, I cleaned up my eating, I started going to the gym, and I like what I see, right? That's a beautiful, beautiful moment.
I was going to say, that's a good thing, yeah. Okay?
The idea of being able to be okay with who you are, at least at that moment, because you grow, you keep changing. That is what I encourage people to do. Because if you do not stop and get to know you, how can you contribute to someone else? And that starts to segue into dating, business, any type of relationship, platonic, non-platonic, social, business, you name it. If you know who you are, what you believe in, what's right and what's wrong, you will then eliminate the people that behave in a manner or conduct themselves in a manner that you don't particularly agree with, right? But you can't even say that nowadays. Yeah. Oh, I don't drink. Like for example, let's use me. So not even hypothetical. I literally do not drink alcohol. It is not a moral issue. I do not look at people who are drinking and say, you are a bad person. Yeah. Now, I mean, if you drink yourself into oblivion, that's a different problem. But I mean, you pair up wine with an expensive meal, a nice glass of wine. You toast champagne at a wedding. You come home from work and you crack open a cold beer. I sit next to people that do that all the time. I'm at these occasions and I will grab my water and toast their glasses, and the people who know me don't even second guess it, right? I just don't drink. They don't feel uncomfortable around me because they do, right? There are other people who, when I tell them, if it somehow comes up, do people get really weird?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
People get really weird. I've had people who be like, oh, dude, well, can I drink? I didn't say anything, bro.
I think it's the same thing as if you were to go like vegetarian.
Sure.
And people get all freaking weirded out.
Dude, but the problem is that the vegan and vegetarian community, it's like in any message. It doesn't matter what the message is. It's how you deliver it.
Yeah.
Okay? If you're sitting there with... Dude, honestly, I eat a lot of vegan and vegetarian cuisine. I was pescatarian for like 6-7 years. I mean, you have to give it a title apparently. So you're only consuming fish as a form of like, flesh.
Yeah.
That's called pescatarian,
Okay.
And then there's all kinds of versions of that.
Yeah.
Everyone, dude, here's a better example. I have a friend who got into bodybuilding, weight training, Olympic lifting, CrossFit, that kind of general type of like dedicated, consistent, extreme workouts, right? He combined that. Well, really the diet came first. How he ate, he started changing up the way he ate, and he started leaning out. It got to the point where for him, he's a very black and white person. So he got very strict about it. Instead of, because some people try to do the middle ground. Yeah. He got very strict. No cheat days, no exceptions, not even someone's birthday or a wedding or none of that. Just 100% on point. He weighed his food. So all the way down to like taking the little scale in the kitchen. Yeah. Which I have a bunch of friends that do this. Yeah. Weighed the food, right? Weighed it all out. And would take Tupperwares, right? And eat, X amount of times per day, however many he decided, however many nutrients, macro nutrients were in each of those Tupperwares to get to his total every day. My point is that at work, he'd pull out one of the Tupperwares. In between, before dinner time, pull out one of the Tupperwares. And so he wasn't antisocial. He would go to events. He would still hang out with people, but he would excuse himself at dinner with his friends, go to his car,
go eat,
just eat, because it's a smaller meal, the way he did it, and come back. How hard is that? That's not a thing that people had to make a big deal. But dude, he said it took him the longest time to realize that the most ironic thing that happens is that he was the leanest, most muscular and in shape person in a group, and he was the one who was getting berated the most. Sometimes even inadvertently, they're like, "Oh, so are you on some kind of diet? What's that? Oh, you're too good to eat with us." Yeah. And he's the most lean, healthiest person there, and he felt like the outcast.
I hate that.
Because people wouldn't leave him alone. Just leave him alone. He's gone for 7 minutes, 10 minutes. He eats, he comes back. Resume your conversation. Yeah. People get really weird when you're different. Yeah. And if you are not comfortable with who you are, it is only logical that you are going to change to fit in.
I like that.
If you are berated, if you are bothered, if you are attacked, if you feel pushed aside, if you don't have a self-awareness, if you don't have for men testicular fortitude, right? In other words, if you're not a bitch, you can stick to it. If you're the pussification of America is a very real thing, but people,
it's true.
But people,
so true.
Once again, it's a blanket term that kind of makes people get turned off by it because they're like, well, what does that even mean? These are real versions of that. People don't know how to stand up for themselves. And then standing up for yourself doesn't mean that you have to then attack the other person. Somehow people think that it's one and the same, and it's not. You can disagree with someone. Mature, intelligent adults can disagree. Honorably. Yeah. Agree to disagree. That's an old... I guess we're going to have to just agree to disagree. That's an old saying. Yeah. But that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. People just hate each other.
Yeah, it's like if you disagree with me automatically, like you can't associate with me.
Correct.
Like, why is that?
Correct.
It's terrible.
Whether it be meat eaters versus vegetarians or vegans, Democrats versus Republicans, people who are pro-life, pro-choice. I mean, you name it, man, from the top to the bottom, to the smallest of things.
Smallest little, yes, I agree.
Being proud of who you are, who you have become, what you think, how you think, who you are. That is the key to it all. Because each person then can respectfully agree, respectfully disagree, choose who they hang out with, and who they don't hang out with, and have a good reason for it. Things like that. So the Think Bigger project is steeped, man, in this type of depth. Yeah. It's steeped in this type of profundity. But, you have to introduce people to subject matter that grandiose slowly. Yeah. Because, like conspiracy theories. If someone hits you with 700 conspiracy theories,
you can't.
You're just like, yo,
it's a shock. You're a shock.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I don't even know what to do with that. But if someone says, okay, let's take the official 9/11 Commission report. So let's base this conversation off of what was officially stated to us. And then you can start to have a conversation about each piece and how there are going to be pieces of 9/11 that don't make sense. And if one piece doesn't make sense, then is it not possible that another doesn't make sense? If you just run at somebody who's, because questioning the mainstream media, questioning your government, questioning the hierarchy of anything in rap culture, in sneaker, in any culture, from small to big, when you question that, it has become an immediate, like if it's America, it's unpatriotic. You're a piece of shit. You're not proud to be an American because you have a question. And that's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree too.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let's not even... It doesn't even have to be about something like 9/11, because already there are people who are going to hear this and going to be like, here we fucking go. It's another conspiracy theorist. No, I'm not. I just think. And I'll read something and I'll think about it and then try to read something else. I don't just take what's dangled in front of me as truth. I just don't do it, man. I think bigger. And so we were touching on all of these crazy things, but that's where the Think Bigger project started. Who knows how far back, but manifesting itself into a real thing, a .com with a logo and a brand and people wearing it across the world and across the US. That kind of just evolved more recently. Yeah, because I've always been that by my behavior, not always as an adult. Yeah, in automotive realm, in the context of that object of building a car, the success that I have achieved on the highest of levels, that only existed or came to existence, in my humble opinion, because of the way that I think.
Absolutely. And who you are.
Thank you.
Because you know who you are.
And like I said, we're always growing. I'm not closed-minded. Yeah. But I'm just saying, how I think led to how I acted and how I currently act. And it is amazing to me that people don't look more to, forget me, anyone who is successful. Let's look at what they are, who they are, and how they got there. Right? Real successful. I'm not talking about success being like you have over 100,000 Instagram followers. That is not a fucking... That is not success. That's not success. Definitely. That's a whole different realm of idiocy. Yeah. And it's sad because, we have quantified people's worth. We have quantified people's credibility. Remember on the forum days with cars? If you asked a tech question and someone who had 103 posts answered your question, they would get, you wouldn't really want to pay attention. But if a moderator, right, or if someone with 2,000 posts, if they answered, you wanted to believe them. That kind of is like what I believe led the way to some kind of like credibility factor.
Yes, I was gonna say it kind of gives them like someone a sense of credibility. Like they're like,
if somebody starts following you on Instagram that has 602 followers, you kind of just don't give a shit. If somebody follows you that has that little blue check mark, that means they're verified, right? And they have a 600,000. That's a person that matters. But the person who has 600,000 started with 6, then 60, then 600, right? But you look at the person now who has 600 or 60 or 6 or even 16,000, and there is a part of you that's like, but why? Because the culture has taught you.
It like tailored that person right into that mindset.
Dude, so from the hip hop world to, I'm a big music head, right? So whether it be music, politics, religion, pop culture, whatever it may be, man, that's where knowing, how you as a person think. Yeah, that's what prompted me to actually make a website, and it wasn't trying to make it all complicated. It's just thinkbiggerproject.com. That's home base. Yeah, you go there. There's the link to the YouTube channel, but there's a blurb. There's right when you open it, there's a blurb that just talks about the premise of the project. The first page isn't the merchandise page. You have to go to it. And most of the I know big companies, man, PR firms, marketing managers for Fortune 300, 400, 500 companies. I know some of these people, and some of them have told me, they're like, oh, you should have the merch as the first thing, because just having people having to find the link to the shop page, you're already losing sales. Yeah. And I'm like, but it's not a site made to sell people things. Yeah, yeah. If they want to buy something, I believe they will. And if they have to search for it, they have to search for it. Yeah. But
you're not there to sell merch, like you said. You're more, and I don't even want to say sell. I was going to say more you're here to sell this movement, but you're not even selling.
No,
You're
man.
it's more
I
like
want to help people.
you want to help. Yeah,
themselves.
you like it's almost as if you want to promote or like I don't even want to use the word
It's
promote.
based in positivity, man. I want
Yeah.
people to think bigger. I want them to think for themselves.
Encourage.
Like I said,
Maybe that's a better word. You want to
Yeah.
encourage people to think for themselves.
It's not about telling them what to think. It's teaching them how to think.
Mhm.
That whole entrepreneurial thing we were talking about,
Yeah.
right? Being an entrepreneur, we make fun at it because there are people who are diluting that.
Yeah.
But passion is the thing. Everyone talks about passion. Find something you're passionate about. If you find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life, right?
Mhm.
All of those things. It's all about passion. But passion isn't enough, man. There are a lot of people. You go to a car meet, everyone there can talk your ears off about cars.
Mhm.
They're passionate, right?
Mhm.
But why do some people make it, which is the minority,
Mhm.
and why do some people just stay in a parking lot?
It's just like motivation. I think motivation, the word motivation, the meaning behind it is super overrated, and that could be the same with passion.
Same thing.
Right? Because taking action and what you know about yourself and what you believe in is what's going to drive that, right?
Yes.
You know, taking action. Like you could only be motivated so much, right? You could only claim to have so much passion. But like you said, if you're not, you know, if you don't have any awareness of what you believe and who you are,
Yes.
and you're not taking action, motivation and passion kind of really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't. But see, for me, there's 3 pieces to that puzzle.
Okay.
And everyone talks about the one thing, the term passion
Mhm.
is the term.
Mhm.
Okay. Passion is the love.
Mhm.
You find something you're passionate about, you
Mhm.
love what you do, you feel strongly about it. That is your foundation. Anything based
Mhm.
in that, you're going to do better than the next person who's doing it just solely as maybe a money maker
Yeah.
because you believe it.
Yeah.
You believe in it. You love it. Okay, passion.
Mhm.
But that's why this shirt, man, that's why this drop exists, this whole series.
Mhm.
It's passion, drive, and focus. Okay, let me
Mhm.
elaborate on that real quick.
Mhm.
Passion is the love. We all know about it. Everyone knows the passion.
Mhm.
That's why it's in red,
Yeah.
right? Drive. Okay, what is drive? Drive is your work ethic,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly what
Drive
we're
is your
talking about.
perseverance.
Mhm.
You are driven to succeed at what you're passionate at,
Mhm.
okay? Because when the emotion wanes, when it's just not quite enough, your determination,
Mhm.
your perseverance, your work ethic is what will keep you going.
Yeah.
Passion, drive, right? Passion's the love, drive
Mhm.
is the work ethic, the
Mhm.
determination, and then focus.
And focus.
Focus is what is the point?
Mhm.
What are you focusing on? Literally, you need to be, so it's a double entendre. Focus. Like you need to stay focused. Like take money, right? Emotions are not limitless,
Mhm.
right? Like when you love someone and you feel like you have loved someone for how many years and the relationship is breaking.
There's no boundaries.
Right. Passion runs out.
Yeah.
Okay. What is going to take care of you when your passion runs out? It is going to be your work ethic, your determination, your drive, and focus.
And focus.
Let's use money, right?
Mhm.
If you have X amount of money and you invest it in one place,
Mhm.
one thing that you believe in, and you nurture that like a business,
Mhm.
okay, you have a chance of succeeding.
Mhm.
If you have X amount of money, because it's not limitless, like emotions, like your passion. If you put it across 100 different things, you put a $1 into 100 things, right? How far are those things going to go? Okay.
Mhm.
Or if you put 100%, $100, all of you, right,
Mhm.
into one thing, you can say that I tried, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Your focus is the end goal. You have to stay focused.
Absolutely.
Right? You go all into what you believe in, right? So passion, drive, focus. That's what it is.
Mhm.
Okay. Passion is the love, drive is the work ethic, the determination, and focus is the end goal. You have to stay focused
Mhm.
because there are a lot of people. You can find a lot of people who have passion. You can find a lot of people who have worked hard their whole life, but they never made it.
They never made it. Yeah.
Why? Because it's not one of those 3, it's all of them.
Mhm.
They work their ass off and they're still working their ass off because one of those 3 was missing, in my humble opinion.
Mhm.
Right? They didn't have a goal. You could work hard all your life, but to achieve what?
Mhm.
Okay. If I ask somebody, why did you just work this week, yesterday, 10 years, you're retired now for the last 55, 65 years of your life, why did you work?
Mhm.
There's going to be an answer.
Mhm.
Is the answer because I needed to pay bills? Or is
Mhm.
the answer going to be because I wanted to take care of my wife?
Mhm.
Or because I had children and they needed to eat? There's an answer. Just what is that answer?
Like what was the bigger picture?
What was the point?
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't have an answer, There's a problem, and that's where the focus is.
Yeah.
What is the point
Yeah.
of what you're doing? Passion, drive, focus. That's why it's on my heart. On the left side of the shirt drop, it's on there. This is an example. I could have, dude, people think it's a car brand. I could have put 2 pistons, right, across each other. I could have used a valve cover car because that would work.
Yeah.
But no, man. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, being an entrepreneur is the same thing. They tell you to be passionate. Okay, but what about your work ethic? Right? And what exactly as an entrepreneur are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Is that financial freedom? Is that whatever the answer is, you need to have an answer. You need to have the end goal. You need to have, what are you focused on accomplishing? Right? And those are the pieces.
Thinking bigger.
You have to think bigger, man. People are sitting there. There's an entire world of people who just simply reshare videos, reshare memes, reshare GIFs. They don't do any research.
Or they're so fixated in one thing they read and that's it.
That's it.
Like
you need to read in depth.
Yeah.
Study it. If you're trying to do real estate, study, right? If you're trying to work in healthcare, what healthcare profession? Why? Study. Whatever you're trying to do, man, you have to work with those tools. Your passion can get you there. Your work ethic can keep you there. But where is there and where is it going to take you? If you don't know, then what are you doing, man? You're fruitlessly working, you know? So as success, it's just a matter of what your definition of success is. You know, if your spouse, your husband, your wife, if they lay down next to you at night and say, you know, I'm blessed to have you with me, you are a success, okay? On the deepest of levels, if your children say that, you know, my daddy or my mommy, they made me feel loved. They taught me how to be a good person. You are a success. People are missing that.
Yeah.
People think success is objects. People think success is money. And if your idea of success is money, you will do whatever you need to do to make the money.
Yeah.
You will fuck people over. Most of the most financially successful people I know have fucked all kinds of people over. Let's just call that what it is, okay? Because people stop being human beings to them. They're financial tools. They're stepping stones, literally stepping stones. They step on them to climb up. I don't care what anyone says. If somebody can type in the comments wherever you're posting this and say, I can name 5 different people who I know made it, and I don't know anyone who has a story to tell about how they fucked them over, please do. Yeah. I'll read about them. I'll look them up myself. But no, man, right? That's for the people whose idea that money is the most important thing. Success and money always go hand in hand, and that is wrong. Okay?
Absolutely.
Has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. People connect them. They're not connected, right? If your idea, your personal idea of success is to make a lot of money, that's different, right? You want to make a lot of money, you are going to end up fucking people over to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
There are very, very, very few companies that have made it by not fucking people over.
Yeah.
It's true, man.
Yeah, it's absolutely
true. It's absolutely true. So the point is what is your personal goal, right? You know what you're trying to accomplish, what your brand, what your company, what your friendship to people. What do you bring? And if people don't reciprocate, if in the dating world, that woman, that man that you are dating, if they don't end up, ladies, ladies, this whole thing about being a savage, right? There's this thing about being a savage. Dude, ladies, you don't need to be a savage. Just deep down inside, everybody wants someone to love them. It's okay. I'm sorry that a man screwed you over, right? I think that he's a dirtbag for doing it. But that doesn't mean that you need to now be a savage. And not give any love to dudes for the rest of your life and be an emotional wall and just be like, you're just don't do that. Men, same thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with loving a woman. I don't know when it became a cool thing to, like, I got side pieces. And I grew up listening to music that wanted to teach me to be like that too. And I'm not like that. What is wrong with saying, I like you and I just want to spend time with you? And now you tell that to a woman half the time and they're like, oh, he's too much. Right? You're so used to
he's a stalker.
Dude, the line between cute and creepy is so thin. If a dude you like puts a note on your windshield wiper on your car, oh my God, he's so thoughtful. Right? If a dude you don't like does it, oh fuck, I need to call 911. Right? It's the same action. It's the same action, right? But that's what I'm saying. So, man, like we don't have enough time to touch on all these things. But it's, you guys, listen to me. thinkbiggerproject.com. It is a brand, a movement, and an ideology. It is not to sell you something. It is not to teach you what to think about a person or a thing. It is to teach you how to think, right? You can make the decisions for yourself, but you have to be self-aware, know who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, why. And all of that will dictate how you conduct business, how you treat other people, what you wear. Right? As soon as you start thinking about it a little bit deeper, you'll look into a couple of companies, a couple of things, car related, fashion related, and I guarantee that you will be highly disinclined to support that company. When you look into that, man, in other countries, when the government makes a decision that people don't like, they're in the streets rioting. Right? You have the power as a consumer to shut down a company that does something that's unethical, whether that be the dairy industry, whether that, whatever, man. But people over here somehow act like that's just the way it is. I don't know, man. I can't do anything about it. If everyone stopped buying from one company, the company would go under. If they knew that people weren't buying it because they did X, Y, and Z, they have no choice, because what is their purpose? Their purpose is to make money off of you. So if you are not buying it, they are not making money. They will do what they need to do to make money. If that means they need to change some kind of unethical behaviors, they'll do it. That's the thing. I'm really sensitive about that, because I know people that are financially well-to-do. And people see the cars that they drive or something like that. It's just an example. And I'm just like, dude, but I know who they fucked over to get there. And that's just an example of what I know. I don't know anything. Like, if I'm sure that if I studied X, Y, and Z, then there would be something that would come up too. But I'm just using that as an example. You guys, it's not about money. It's not about the purse that you have, ladies. It's not about, don't put fucking Botox in your forehead. Do not put collagen in your lips. Do not inject shit in your ass. Do not do that, okay? Men, you do not need to have the coolest watch, the dopest Yeezys, every single drop. If you cannot afford to pay off your credit card bill from last month, you do not need to buy them.
Then there's a problem.
It's a See, but that's the thing. I'm not knocking okay, I'm wearing
those Iversons?
So these are Bait Snake 2.0 Allen Iverson Reebok questions. Okay, most people probably most of the new sneakerheads probably don't have any idea what I just said. They're Reeboks with Hexalite, all right? And they are a collab with a company here in SoCal. I just like the colorway, the patent leather, and the snakeskin. And no, it's not real snakeskin, for the people wondering if they slaughtered the snakes. But I'm using it as an example, right? You got Yeezys. You have a shoe that only certain people would even know, right? I have a small shoe collection. I like shoes, but that's about it. I'm wearing my own shirt, Think Bigger Project shirt. I'm wearing Dickies, because I've been wearing Dickies for like the last 20-something years of my life. And I don't need $170 pants. I just don't need it, right? I'm a big dude, right? Usually the companies that make $170 pants, they don't make them for big dudes anyways, right? But I'm just saying, you guys, like, I'm not saying just give it all up and change who you are in an instant. But how you think is a process. Your maturity as a human being is a process, and you have to be open to that process and embrace it right now. Embrace it, and it starts your evolution.
Absolutely.
I think it is inevitable that there will be parts of you that will change. I mean, it is something that you should welcome. Right?
Absolutely.
We thought we knew it all when we were 16. We did. And at 26, you're like, oh my God, I'm so much wiser than when I was in my teens. Now, in your people like us who are in our 30s, mid-30s, people 40s, and if the people listening to this, if you're 16 right now, right? I mean, the internet creates the world and puts the world in one place. So someone's going to listen to this who's a teenager, and someone's going to listen to this and watch this who's in their 40s, right? And everything else in between and beyond, okay? It doesn't matter. If you're a teenager, you are learning life. And for the person in their 50s, I guarantee you, they don't think the same as when they were in their 40s. It is a growth process. How you act, how you think, how you behave, all of that starts right here. It all starts right here. That's why it's called the Think Bigger Project. Dude, I have shipped to Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Belgium, Indonesia. I was just in Indonesia. I just came back from Jakarta and Hong Kong. I travel all over the U.S. People in Canada, all up and down the East Coast. Shout out to the homies in NY, New England, the tri-state area, the South, the Carolinas. Man, Atlanta. I got homies in Atlanta walking around. The premise of the Think Bigger project is something that people want to relate to.
Mm-hmm.
They want to relate to it, and there's no one really doing that for them.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe in it so powerfully. And even though it's against the status quo, as much as it's ironic, you're supposed to be woke, you're supposed to be all those things, but what I'm doing is very much not accepted, because it's not cool to step out and say, wait a minute, I might not ever wear that company ever again. I might not ever do that again. I might not support this brand or this company because now that I know what they did to get there. That's not a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Because people around you are going to be like, what the hell? You were just wearing...
It's like not the norm, I guess. Or
if you can go from never wearing Adidas in your entire life to wearing every form of Yeezys, if you can go the opposite way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was Nike. I was wearing Jordans. And now, all of a sudden, this shoe head, it's not a shoe head, it was a Jordan head, right? All of a sudden, now is going after every Yeezy release. If you can admit that I went from Jordan to Yeezy because of branding, if you can admit it, which is just admit it. If you can admit it, then how come you can't do it the other way? How come you can't say, all right, well, now I don't wear that anymore? Why not? For some reason, it's only one direction that people are going with that.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to stop and be like, no, hold on. Okay. One day, 1 year, 20 years later, right, this political perspective, this religious belief, this fashion perspective, this automotive, anything, man. Why can't people say, you know what, I've decided to no longer do that. People will do it with the way they eat, but people won't do it with the way that they think. They say that they are, but they're not.
Yeah.
And I want to be a way, a medium, a vehicle of change for people.
I love it. Yeah.
Right. So Think Bigger project, man.
Think Bigger project.
Please, you guys. It's not about merchandise. I believe that when you go to the website and you get a feel for what it's about, listening to this, even if you've never even heard of it before, you understand that it is, the foundation of it is to better. This is going to sound dramatic. It's to better mankind. It's to better our society and our culture. It is, absolutely. That's and it's applicable across the board, from music to fashion, automotive, and beyond. You need to be able to start thinking past what they put in front of you.
Absolutely. Right?
Social media, news, you need to be able to think for yourself, think past what's in front of you, think bigger. And the things that we've talked about it's not just about passion, it's about your drive, it's about your focus, things like that will all come. It's not overnight. Yeah. But making the decision to open your mind is a decision that you can make overnight. Yeah. And then everything else follows.
Dude, I love it, man. Dude. So www.thinkbiggerproject.com.
Yes.
And where can people find you on Instagram?
Oh, okay. So the only social media platform I currently am active on is Instagram, and it is at the Big Mike. So you know what? I look forward to hearing from you guys there. I do make an effort to respond to all DMs in a timely fashion. So you feel free to follow there, message me there. When you go to thinkbiggerproject.com, there is a YouTube channel link, right? So I have put out certain amounts of videos. They're short and to the point. They are to stimulate conversation. They're all on subjects that I also have a podcast. It's called the Think Bigger Podcast. That's coming out later. I have queued up episodes where it's similar in the sense that you just want to give people a conversation that they can think about. Yes, they can listen to.
Stimulates the mind.
Stimulates the mind, my friend. Exactly. Yeah. That's another reason why. Like, if I had heard and watched this podcast and it was about just fuckery, like there's no nonsense, I wouldn't be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? Because there are people who that's what they do. If you watch some people's YouTube channels, it's fuckery, dude. It's a bunch of comedic nonsense. Yeah. And I get that. People are like, well, what's wrong with that? I'm entertained. You know what, man? Honestly, here we go on a whole nother tangent. But entertainment, whether that be comedy, whether that be movies, whether that be whatever, entertainment is predominantly for people that have spare time.
Mhm.
Let's think about that for a second.
Yeah.
How not busy are you,
Mhm.
right? That you have time to search out
Mhm.
people to entertain you. Okay?
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that you have more you could accomplish with your time
Mhm.
than just look at the log on your Instagram account that showed you how many hours you were on Instagram today. It tells you,
Mhm.
okay? If your business is on Instagram, fine. But if it isn't, could you have done something more productive?
Mhm.
Has anyone ever actually looked up how much money Instagram makes per week? Have you ever looked it
I
up?
haven't. I'm sure it's a lot.
The numbers are astronomical.
Yeah.
Okay. If you take the average person making, I don't know, $10 an hour,
Mhm.
calculate your time because time is real, right? Your money and time. Fine. Let's take things like that, right? If you were on Instagram for 5 hours today, and the average person, let's just use $10, right?
Mhm.
That's $50, right? That you could have made working your quote unquote regular job or putting forth to your passion project
Mhm.
or something else, right?
Mhm.
If your house is dirty, if your car isn't washed, right? If you haven't done laundry, all of that stuff could have been done while you were on social media or, excuse me, being entertained, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Entertainment is there for people who have spare time.
Yeah.
And the question I have for you is, do you have spare time? Or do you have something that you could be doing with that time?
Mhm.
Th-
Again, it's to get you to think.
It to get you to think, man.
Yeah.
Okay, things like this are educational. These are thought provoking. These types of
Thought
podcasts. This
provoking,
is not entertainment. This is intelligent subject matter.
opening discussion,
Okay,
opening
correct.
conversation.
You
Yeah.
ask people on here who you believe have something important and profound to say.
Mhm.
Okay, and this type of thing is not entertainment. Watching people act like cartoon characters
Mhm.
on Instagram and YouTube is entertainment. Okay, do you guys really need to be entertained as much and as often as you are? And my answer to that is absolutely not.
Mhm.
Okay, absolutely not. I'm not saying that everyone 100% of the time work until you just fall over.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to laugh and have a good time. But these are the types of things that you need to think. Just reassess your time management,
Mhm.
right? Are you using your time wisely? Because your time is money. Time is money,
Mhm.
right? So if we really want to talk about time and money, let's talk about it and quantify it for what
Mhm.
it is. So use your time better. Read books, not a Kindle. I have nothing wrong against the company. Not an ebook. Just take something tangible. Hold a book, a paper book, and read it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let your eyes rest from the backlit display. There's science to that. You're not supposed to be looking at your phone before you sleep.
Yeah.
Where it stimulates
Stimulates
your
you.
senses. I believe it's the hypothalamus in your brain, and it prevents you from calming down and
And then it'll
segueing.
keep you awake.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you stare at your phone at like full brightness, and then you turn it off, and you're like, "How come I can't go to sleep?"
Yeah. I got
Because
that.
you were just staring into a flashlight.
I got a problem with that.
Dude, all of us do to some degree, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys look at it like this. How many of you have been in a movie theater when someone 1, 2, 3, 5 rows below you opens their phone at full brightness? Does it piss you off? But you're staring at your own phone right in front of your eyes in pitch black, and then turning it off and saying, "How come I can't go to sleep?" Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? But if you read a book, if you choose the last hour of your day to be in it to give you a calm feeling, serenity,
Mhm.
dude, I don't own a TV.
Mhm.
I don't own a TV. Why? Because I want my home to be a place of solitude and quiet,
Mhm.
right? Peace.
Yeah.
You have your phone all day. You're on your phone, right?
Yeah.
That's stimulation. I don't need it before I go to sleep.
Mhm.
And if I did have a TV, there wouldn't be one in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Right? There wouldn't be one, man, because I don't need that. I don't want that before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
These are just things that I do, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, look, there are time limitations to this. I get it, my dude, but that's kind of how it is. Like we just these subjects are important,
Absolutely.
and sometimes you can't just gloss over them,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what it is, man. Think Bigger Project. The thinkbiggerproject.com is the home-based website.
Mhm.
I mean, everything from snapbacks. I mean, the message is on everything. It says think big. You know that idea of putting your thinking cap on?
Yeah.
I made them.
Mhm.
You literally have a thinking cap. There's dad hats, there's trucker hats, there's snapbacks. It's just an option for people. If you're gonna put something on your head, why not it be something that will actually, oh shit, remind me I need to get my head on right. I need to think right. That's why it says think big on the hats. And the message behind every design is not just to sell you a cool ass logo and colorway. When you put it on your body. Look, when you go to train, when you go to work out, you put on workout clothes, right? Because you are going into what you're doing with a purpose, and that those clothes fit your purpose, right? If you are going into a professional setting, you will put on something like a suit that indicates what you are doing and your mind when you're going to do it, right? How is it any different with the clothes that you wear the majority of the time, and that would be when you're not at the gym or at work, right? So you should put something on your body that has a point. And that's why the merchandise aspect of the Think Bigger project even exists, because it gives someone the opportunity to, when they put on their workout dry fit overpriced shirt to go to the gym, right? Or when they put on what could probably also be a very overpriced dress shirt, that's an indication of where your mind is for the task at hand, right? There's no different when you take those things off and put a t-shirt or a hat on. That is an indication of where your mind is for the rest of your day. That's why the merchandise exists.
Well, www.thinkbiggerproject.com. People could reach you at the Big Mike
on Instagram.
On Instagram. I appreciate you, man.
Dude, I appreciate
episode
you
10, dude. Free thinking, man. I love the movement. It's a positive movement. Let's encourage people to, getting to know who they are and be able to think freely. Be positive. Let's just change this culture, man. Let's do it.
One day, one moment, one word at a time. That's how it all starts. That's how anything starts. So, Ejay, dude, I appreciate you, man. We've known each other for pretty decent amount of years, and to see what you're doing with this, I love it. It isn't just because I know you. Like if you had started something, my dude, honestly, that I didn't vibe with, I would have politely declined. But I appreciate the premise of the parables, the terminology, what you're doing, and why you're doing it. And so because of that, it's a pleasure to be here, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, guys. Episode 10. Now in the books with the man, Big Mike. And you got to sign my canvas, because I have everybody sign my canvas.
Okay, word.
We are 10 episodes. Man, what a milestone for the parables. I appreciate it. What's funny is the parables, like, as you know, is a story. And I feel like your story is endless, man. Just hearing everything that you're doing. And you know what? I can't wait to revisit it.
You know what, brother? I
can't wait to revisit. I feel like it's going to be like so like beyond... Who knows? Within a couple months, maybe, even less than that. Who knows?
Yeah, you know what, man? It's been about half a year that I really went into it. And like I mentioned earlier, I mean, shipping across the world, one unit here, 50 units.
It's eye-opening, right?
Wild, man. To see people just of all walks of life, all age groups, all ethnic backgrounds, rocking it. But rocking it because they believe in it. That's what's more powerful,
I feel the same. I feel the same way when I look at the stats and I see these people from Korea, from England,
just all over the world.
Listening.
That's the power of the internet. And instead of using it for the foolishness that is predominantly what people utilize it for, you're using the internet and creating this clickable, viewable, it's tangible. I consider this tangible. Someone's looking at their screen, but what they're going to walk away from when they hear this, it's going to end up forming into something that another person can touch. And that is a powerful thing. So using the internet to do good,
to make an impact,
to influence
that's what this
positively.
Is about.
Because everyone's an influencer now. But what are you influencing them to do? What are you doing with that power? Because people will be like, oh, I just do me, man. I don't care what people... Yes, you do. Because if you didn't care, you wouldn't put it on the World Wide Web. WWW stands for the World Wide Web. You are putting it to the world publicly and then trying to act like you don't care what the world thinks. Then don't put it on the internet. Right? You can't have it both ways. All these celebrities and reality stars that I'm just me, it doesn't matter what people think. Then keep that shit to yourself. All right? So if you're going to influence people, if you have power, use it for something positive, man. Use it for something positive. And that's what you and I are doing. The foundation in that sense of what you and I do is the same. And so that's why it's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Thank you so much, man, for accepting, man. Episode 10 in the books. Big Mike, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Episode 10, we're out.